If you want to jump higher, what's better? Single leg lifts or double leg lifts? Today we're going to answer that question. My name is Isaiah Rivera. I have a 50.5 inch officially tested vertical. This is my coach and fellow dunk addict, John Evans. I would say actually a jump addict.
Yeah, training addict, jump addict.
And together we have a company called THPstrength. If you want to get coached by us, go to THPstrength.com. Use the code THP for 10% off of your first month. Having said that, let's get into it.
All right, what do you like more, unilateral or bilateral lifts?
Bilateral.
Why?
Unilateral, I feel like I can't load up as heavily. I can't reach quite the intensities that I get with double leg lifts. I also just love squatting. I grew up watching Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting and Ronnie Coleman squatting 800 pounds.
What do you think is the heaviest unilateral lift you've ever done?
A split squat at 315 for reps.
Was that here?
No, that was 29. I actually might have, I don't know what I did with the hand supported split squat. I might have been, I think I did.
Technically, and this is actually something important. Technically, that's asymmetric bilateral.
Yeah.
Shout out Alex Brown, the Alex we used to lift with. He made this beautiful point when I worked at Athletic Lab. We were doing debates, and it was about unilateral versus bilateral. And he was like, some person was making this whole argument about unilateral lifts, and he kept referring split squats and lunges. And Alex was like, first off, let it be known, those are bilateral lifts. They're just asymmetric. And I will never forget how passionately and pissed off he was. So that is, we'll count it as unilateral, but I'm talking truly unilateral.
The heaviest, all right. I've done a pistol squat front rack position with the bar.
How heavy was that? 115?
No, just the bar. 45 pounds.
What? That's it?
Yeah.
All the way down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good. I've had you do heavier than that on negatives.
So, and then that's the other one I was gonna bring up. I've done half pistol squats on a Smith machine, negatives, and I think, what's the heaviest I've done with that?
I feel like you only went 115.
Plate, yeah. I think
maybe
I've done
135.
Reds, but on the Smith machine.
So yeah, maybe 135.
So yeah, I think 115. I think I've done free bar 115 actually.
I think I've seen you do that as well.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was like on a cooler.
Yeah.
That's whenever your back was fucked up.
The thing is though, is my limiter. I mean, in the last 4 or 5 years, I could actually probably do single leg work now.
Because you're TFL?
My TFL is like...
You're healed.
Yeah. But yeah, my hip was a huge limiter in the last 4 or 5 years with single leg work. And then before I met you, my knee never let me do single leg work.
So you've rarely done truly unilaterally loaded lifts. And your vertical is 50.5.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like there's a whole avenue that we need to explore.
No, literally.
In training that we haven't.
It's just, I think single leg work exposes weaknesses.
Yeah,
and
for
obviously,
sure.
On my right leg is just PFP.
You know, one thing I always think about too with unilateral work is you can't load the nervous system quite as intensely. Like the bilateral deficit is the idea that we can lift more on one leg than we could with two. So if I'm doing a leg press, right, and I can leg press 400, unilaterally I can do more than 200. So you'd be like, well, why is that possible? Yeah, but it doesn't, because your nervous system is more upregulated when you have 400 pounds on the leg press versus 200 pounds on the leg press. And I think that's maybe one of the benefits of doing truly loaded bilateral work over unilateral.
Tried seizure hops. Then you can bypass the bilateral.
Tell the people what the seizure hop is.
Seizure hops is this exercise.
We've talked about it several times on the podcast, but we should probably reference it now.
There's this YouTuber. His name is Frank Yang. And
Frank, if you watch our video, we're huge fans.
Back in like 08, 2009, 2010, he used to post vertical jump training videos. I think he has one of the first on the jump mat, one of the first like 40-inch standing verticals on a jump mat.
Do you know Jordan Kilgannon has a 46-inch vertical on the jump mat?
Oh.
But on a Vertec, he's only testing one. Sorry, Jordan, you're catching strays. All right, go.
But yeah, so he actually had really dope training, and by the way, he's a psycho.
Yeah, he's nuts. In a good way though. I kind of like it.
Yeah, like
he would
funny, troll people in gyms and stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things he would do is something called seizure hops, and he literally just goes and like jumps really fast right before doing a lift to upregulate his nervous system.
We used to have those in the training. Yeah. They were called tantrums. And yeah, it just immediately gets rid of the bilateral deficit. It's kind of crazy. No, I don't
That's
think
a
it does
joke.
at all.
If
Yeah,
you
it does
don't
not.
go do future hops to get rid
Absolutely
of. Don't do that and then load up more weight than you've ever done in a squat.
and expect it to.
Because Isaiah told me I could.
Isaiah, yeah, that's absolutely not something we would advocate for. So I think that and maybe this comes back to like the 1 foot versus 2 foot jumper, sprinter, et cetera. Because if you look at specificity, we talked about transfer training yesterday, but if you look at specificity, you would say, well, 1 foot jumping needs unilateral exercises, right? Because obviously that's going to have better transfer to training, and it's more specific because you're on one leg. I have not necessarily found that to be true. 1 foot's so weird for me because it's like I just train a lot and then I get better after I unload. And if I follow the rule of specificity, that's the case. But it's not like if I go do a month or 2 months of unilateral work and I just stop, I'll jump higher than had I done bilateral work. I think that the shift from bilateral to unilateral, or keeping at least 1 day of unilateral in, for me is generally good. But a lot of the time, like you said, it kind of exposes your weaknesses. It's harder to load a lot of the time. You have to be a lot more creative. If I can load it and it makes sense, I will. So a lot of the time on machines, if I can do a leg extension or a leg press, I can do it. But I've also noticed that unilateral work kind of pisses my back off because your pelvis is rotated a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And if you have mobility issues, you can get more range of motion by rotating in maybe a different way, allowing you to load more, but that's not always good for your back. So
It's the opposite.
Bilateral's worse?
Yeah, bilateral's always been way worse. But
you have better mobility too. You can maintain good posture.
I have good mobility, and then load is usually
like the bar. You mean?
Because like if I squat, for example, I could squat 225 astragas all day and not get back pain. It's usually load dependent. But with unilateral work, I usually can't load heavy enough, and I can usually maintain good position in my.
Do you think that your TFL limits the lift more than your back does, though?
Oh wait, yeah. On single leg work?
Yeah, like if your TFL was fully healthy, do you think you would have back issues? Doing a negative at 215?
I don't think so. I
Really?
don't think so, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I just remember I was at Christian Williams' house, and I was doing what was I doing? It was some unilateral exercise. It might have been reverse lunges, which technically you are partially in single leg support on the, like if your foot's off the ground, on the step back until you get to the bottom. And that was very provocative for my low back. I remember it really pissed it off, but I also jumped my highest ever a month later. So like I was saying, I do think that you want to go from general to specific and include it, especially for 1 foot jumpers. I think that it's really important. For 2 foot jumpers, I don't know. We just haven't done it with enough guys to know. Yeah. But I've never seen, when we have done it, I've never seen it make a noticeable difference.
I will say, anecdotally, when I've been strong with single leg work, I've usually been jumping really high.
Are you healthy?
Because it's an indicator of how healthy I am. If I can push heavy, I mean specifically on a split lunge or a reverse lunge, that's usually the main ones we've messed around with.
So let's just count. Let's count asymmetric. Let's count asymmetric bilateral as unilateral.
Yeah. When I've been really strong and not feeling pain on like a split squat, basically when I've been able to reverse lunge or split squat 300 plus, it's a good indicator that I'm strong as hell and I'm feeling healthy. And
mascot's back.
Yeah. But when those two check boxes are checked off, I can usually try hard on my jump.
But you did 3, I don't even know what you did on the hand supported stuff.
I think I did 300 plus here.
Did you test 50 during that time?
That was right before I tested.
That was right before?
That was leading up to it, yeah.
All right, you heard it here first. Unilateral work is the best way to jump higher. No, I'm kidding. I mean, this is kind of insightful. We've never really covered this extensively.
But I don't know if that was I don't know if that's doing that lift made me more healthy, or I was more like conscientious of doing the lift properly. Like I can't do it properly if I'm hurt, you know what I mean? Like that's like one variable.
So you're healthier, therefore.
It's like power cleans. Like you know how we say.
Was it the chicken or the egg?
Exactly.
Were you jumping higher because you were healthy, or were you jumping higher because of unilateral work?
Exactly, because it's almost
Could
like a power clean where we say we've seen it be more of a display of readiness.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about split squat. It's like it's not that the split squat got me healthy and strong. It's more that like
you were healthy enough.
What he's doing with his tail.
What the? He's taking a shit.
Oh.
What? He's like
dookie.
Twerking.
There's a lizard taking a big old number 2.
What the?
Oh, now he's.
Oh, he's basking. He's flexing.
He's basking
I
in
really
his
wish
poop.
we had a second camera for.
Yeah.
Bro, get the fuck out of here, man. Stop it. You're distracting us. I just can't stop staring. What? It's like a train. It's like a train wreck. He sucks.
Oh, goodness.
He's gotten big. I feel like we've seen him grow.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. Stop taking a shit on our property.
Oh, big one. Big dookie.
That's the same.
right.
Oh, I thought you meant the lizard. It's like it's a big lizard. Yeah, that was
Sorry
kind of
about
crazy.
that.
That was kind of wild. Anyway, so yeah, it could just be more an indicator versus something that you're seeing a significant difference improving, and that's always so difficult because there are so many variables that we have at any one time, right? Is it you're also doing bilateral work at that time, you're also doing isometrics at that time. I typically like to include it once a week, unilateral work for you guys, but if you're not healthy enough, then I'm not going to do that. I've also used it as a way to get more range of motion for exercises, but now that I'm doing my closed toe everted frog squat, I am able to get deep knee flexion, so I haven't needed it quite as much, and I've been hesitant to add it back in because of some of the back issues that I've had. Is that a police officer?
I don't know. It looks like it.
It looks like a detective.
Yeah, this thing's blacked out. I was seeing police officers there the other day. I think yesterday.
Where?
Like an actual like trooper. He was driving down here.
They're on to us. No, I'm kidding.
So
That's not an admission of guilt.
All right. I think the conclusion.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think it's necessary for you to jump 80.5 inches, do unilateral work? I stumped him.
Well, what I'm trying to think of is if I would have never done, if we would have done the exact same training, but then never have done the unilateral
I think you
work.
need it for variety.
That's what
I think
I'm
it's
thinking.
so important for variety. It just builds a better product.
You would get me at 49.5,
Yeah.
but maybe not 50.5.
That's like saying, like, well, what if we never did caver? What if we never did positive?
Yeah.
What if we, like, you still need those things for variety
Yeah.
to spur on adaptation.
It's
So I
like,
do
all
think
right,
it's
maybe it would have
valuable.
been a 1% difference.
How much do you think it helps your one foot?
Ooh. I think it's even more of an indicator of health.
For one foot?
Yeah, like for one, all right, for me personally, 1 foot,
Me personally?
if I can't split squat, damn sure I'm not going to be able to 1 foot jump. Because for me, 1 foot's way more intense than 2 foot jumping.
See, I've never felt like my split squat was an indicator at all of my 1 foot health.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the isos.
Mind you, think about how I jump.
Oh yeah,
I
you
basically go,
just boom the ground. Isaiah has no technique when he jumps. Actually, I've seen him improve it in short periods of time, but typically his default is elbows at 90 degrees, and just imagine you have 135 pounds on a leg press in an eighth or quarter squat, probably like a third squat, and you just stomped on the plate as hard as possible.
slow approach.
Yeah. It's honestly really impressive how powerful you are. I don't know how
You know
you
what it
developed that.
feels
but-
like? Imagine if you had
Like a step up?
there was like a little step, like a little 12-inch box.
Yeah,
And,
and you
it
just-
feels like I just like, ooh.
You know that's not at all what it feels like for me at all. It feels like if I were in a single leg quarter squat on the ball of my foot and I'm like pushing down. That's what it feels like for me. Well, like, and that's only after I'm in mid support.
Yeah.
Touchdown does not feel like that at all, like whatsoever.
I would say when I've worked on it and been jumping my highest, it feels more like what you described. It's just like kind of run fast and
Yeah,
Get off
and
the
kind of
ground.
bounce off it. Like when you tamaled, which by the way, fuck you, I can't believe you made that off 1 foot.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was crazy. When you sent me that, I was like,
With my left arm.
so crazy. All right, yeah, that's all I have to add to this. If you guys want to jump higher, go THPstrength.com, sign up for coaching, best coaching in the entire world.
Yeah.
I stand by that. We'll get on a call with you guys, go over your goals, make sure you know how to use the service. That's a big change that we've been making. If you're currently on the training, keep getting after it. If you have questions,
You know
send
where
it
to
to
ask
us.
them.
Yeah. All right.
John,
Thank you
when
guys.
can I start power cleaning again?
I'll answer. I'll get back to that question another time. See you guys.
No, I'm